Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again. In today's video, an entitled neighbor claimed she is the mayor of a small town I recently moved to. She confiscates my property, including my newly built pool, and then trespasses on my property. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the story. So, a few years ago, I moved to a small town in Spain. I am an orphan, and at that time I was recently divorced and I knew I wanted a change of place. Moving to Spain was a big change for someone who had lived in South Korea for 30 years of his life, but I was excited for it. A few of my friends who worked in nearby countries even flew in to help me settle in, and soon enough I was relaxing in my small but beautiful house. It was serene quietness for 3 whole months before I decided to build a pool. I know, weird thing to do when you have not even properly gotten used to your new home, but I've always wanted a pool of my own. I asked around for any kind of help that I could get, and after about 3 months more, I had my pool ready. And that was when the serene quietness left me, because among the helpful and sometimes teasing neighbors was also one who seemed to have spawned straight from hell. At that time, I did not know what to call people like these, but now I do. It was a Karen. I was cleaning out my pool when I heard the gate to my property sliding open. A woman who looked about my age had graciously let herself into my home without my permission and was now standing a few feet from me, her expression impatient and furious. As if I was the one bothering her. Me? What are you doing? At that time, people assumed that I could not speak English at all, so they would often act shocked when they heard me. Just like this Karen. Karen, I am here because I was informed that you are partaking in illegal activities. Me, confused and a little bit scared, I don't know. Karen, that pool behind you, points at the said pool, is built illegally. This town does not allow for pools as it poses a danger to children and old people. Me, but I don't have any children or old people here. Karen, yes, but they can walk in, right? And she is looking at me like I'm the stupid one. I have seen you hang out with them quite often. What if you one day invite them in and someone accidentally falls? Me, it's not that deep. And that's when I realized that I had not asked the right question. Who are you, by the way? Karen, I'm the town mayor of insert town name. But shouldn't you already know that? You have been here for a long time now. Me, a few months only, but how do you know all this? I did not know how things in Spain worked, but were government people supposed to be so involved with the daily life of the common people? The answer is of course no. Karen, it is my job to know all this. Did you even study anything back in your country, or is it banned in North Korea? Me, well, it's South Korea actually. At this point, I know I should have questioned how she knew my country, but I was already getting a bit scared. But I asked people around when I was building this pool and Karen, of course they would not stop you. They want you to get in trouble so you run back to your whatever direction Korea. People don't like other breeds like you mingling with us. Me now getting angry not only for myself but also for others here, the uncles and aunties have been nothing but sweet and warm to me. I think you're wrong about that. Karen, gritting her teeth, your pool is built illegally and hence I will be confiscating that. Also, you need to pay these fines for breaking the laws. Me, what fines? Karen, people have complained about you drinking on your porch, playing music loudly at night and doing some kind of nasty smelling fermentation that everyone can smell. Me, that was just beer. I was not playing music but watching the game just like everyone else, and that is probably kimchi that you are talking about. But actually, no one complained when I brought it out to some of my neighbors. You can ask them. Karen, I don't need to. You either pay these fines or you can fight your own court case. Me, again, I was unsure and scared, so I did not know what to do. Well, I don't have cash on me, so Karen, you can just online transfer me. Me getting a little bit suspicious now. I will hand it over tomorrow. Karen, whatever. And by the way, clean this pool nicely because I will be coming in to seize it tomorrow. Maybe your house as well, because I think you have built other illegal things as well. And she walks away without even listening to me. That evening I told the few neighbors that I've gotten close to what happened. Shockingly, or maybe not, they informed that this woman does this to any new resident who does something that she does not like. She was probably jealous that I had my own pool as she does not have enough money to afford one and wanted to scam me. They also gave me their numbers and told me to call them if she created any more problems and to ignore her because it was not worth it. I decided to follow their advice, and the next time this Karen came, I had made sure my gate was locked and she could not get inside. She shouted to be let inside, that she was the town mayor and the most powerful person here, etc. before walking away. I texted my neighbors everything and got told to visit the real police corps in case the Karen tried to do something drastic. So well, I did exactly that. There I met this nice, half-Thai woman who was the acting police inspector who assured me that they will look into the matter. I went back home with a light mind and maybe a crush, but let's not talk about that. Anyway, 3 days passed by in silence and until the noon of the 4th day when I hear people banging on my gate. Among them, I also hear Karen who threatens me that if I do not let her in, she will have the police break the gate down. I am confused, so I dial the number I got from the police inspector before I heard a loud creaking sound. These crazy lunatics did break my gate. Karen, you think you can take the law in your own hands? Behind this Karen are people dressed in police uniforms, so I sprint to run inside my house. Karen shouts behind me, but I don't care as I slam my door shut. I am scared, so I just lock myself inside my bedroom and wait as these people continue to scream at me. After about an hour of this ordeal, I get a call. It's the police inspector and she informs me that it is safe outside now. I come out to see Karen and other police corps being handcuffed and pushed inside the vehicle. The actual police inspector is standing near my door and she greets me with a smile. Police inspector, I hope you're not hurt. These people are not real police. They are apparently this woman's friends who are posing as us. Thanks for informing us about them, by the way. We will look into who else have these people scammed and take appropriate action. The people are escorted away and are fined to make up from the damage they did to my property. I don't know what happened to them after that, and frankly I don't care because out of this whole ordeal I got some nice neighbors that I can rely on. And by the way, a police inspector to date. The next one is titled Brilliant Revenge Done Right. So this technically was not my revenge, but it was my friend getting it for me instead. Background: I broke up with my ex of a decade for holding rent over my head along with a bunch of other things that were much worse, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He was still living with me, so I gave him a grace period of 30 days. He took 2 weeks longer to move out. I found another roommate, Missy, who was also friends with Sam, to move in, who was my friend at the time. My friend Sam was not in a good place with her family because of issues, so she was considering sleeping in her car. I gave her a key and told her she can crash with me until she figures something out. So my ex tries to drag his feet. He says I'm not making the best decisions being influenced by my friends. He says that the roommate can still move in and he can stay and we can work on our relationship. I still refuse. Story after, he moves out to another state and lives with his mom, but he does start to harass me again. I was trying to be nice and even remain friends because he requested that, and I only requested for him to give me space for a little bit, but he didn't and even pushed further. So then I blocked him. He hacked into my Facebook to unblock him. He messed around with my Disney fast passes in my account, he got into my fanfiction net account and deleted my stuff. He also took stuff that was not his before he moved and then mailed back to me as a power play. He sent me letters, some of which I did not see because my friend Sam did me the favor since I was not in a good place emotionally. The basics of him saying I would be nothing without him and that I let other people get into my head rather than thinking for myself. Some threats as well. So the revenge, I being a doormat and wanting nothing to do with just blocking him and trying to move on. So then, eventually he stops and I'm just happy he did. My friend Sam was apparently the one who got him to stop. What she did? Before he moved, she got her cat to sleep on his pillow. He is allergic to pet dander. She subscribed him to adult magazines and had that sent over to his mom's house under his name. An ugly email he sent me from his job email. Well, she sent one back to his work calling it unprofessional. Sam got the letters that were him spouting abuse and showed them to her uncle, who is a cop, who then sent a letter from his work stationery back to the return address, stating that if any more letters were sent along with other forms of harassment, a restraining order would be placed and that would go on his permanent record. She tells me this years later, and I tell ya, I never felt more loved and supported in that moment. She is still my best friend. And here, Ripe Stars, indeed, that is a good friend. However, I really hope that OP learned to stand up for herself, because she should not let people just roll over her like that. But anyway, props to the friend. And by the way, if you have enjoyed the story so far, please don't forget to like the video, because that would help me tremendously. The next one is titled Someone Will Be Hungry. So let me introduce the cast of characters and hopefully make things clear. There is me and my SO, there is my cousin, 1, their SO, and their 2 children ranging in age from 7 to 9, my aunt, my other cousin 2, my other cousin 3, and his son who is 18, cousin 2 and 3 are siblings, and we are all 40 and over. Everyone has jobs except for the kids, the 18-year-old and the aunt who is retired. We have decided to plan a family reunion for 4 nights, 5 days. Cousin number 2 paid $1,500 for the cabin and left the planning and buying of food to me, and cousin number 1, cousin 1, has not helped financially at all. So that has left me and my SO to buy the food, because I knew it would fall on us for several months now. We've been buying food little by little when we buy our groceries. We estimate that we would spend close to $1,000 when it is all said and done. We are not planning elaborate meals, but buying food for 10 people for 11 meals adds up. Cousin number 2 is well aware that cousin number 1 is not helping with the food, and that's just me and my SO paying. Cousin number 2 continually reminds me that we have an 18-year-old man coming and he eats a lot, and that we need to make sure we have enough food for him. I explained I bought a package of 40 hamburger patties. Even if all 10 people eat 2 hamburgers apiece, there will be 20 hamburger patties left. I also said that we are planning on 5 pounds of ground beef for spaghetti and another 5 pounds for chili. There will also be sides like rice or salad or cornbread or garlic bread. I have planned like that for every meal, plus there will be bread and peanut butter and jelly and cereal. I cannot imagine there won't be leftovers that he can eat if he gets hungry. He is still insisting that that's not enough food and we should buy a couple of rotisserie chickens, and cousin number 3 suggested we buy ramen for his 18-year-old son. Cousin number 3 and his son have not financially contributed even a penny towards this, nor do they have plans to pay for anything. I am flat out refusing to buy extra food, and after the 10th text message I finally told cousin number 2 that since cousin 3 and his son were getting a free vacation, if the food provided is not enough, then he can starve. I might have also called them moochers to have the gal to suggest foods that I could buy for them. So guys, am I the butthole for being stubborn and refusing to buy something as cheap as ramen? And yeah guys, let me know in the comments whether you think that OP is the a-hole here or not. Personally, I would say that OP is a saint, because it is very clear that this family is crazy entitled and I would have lost my cool a long time ago. So anyway, a comment said, not the a-hole, I'm surprised that the mooches are invited and allowed to attend. They should be pitching in or stay home. You will need to keep the food under lock and key, because the entitled moochers will take what they want and eat everything they can grab. Comment 2, not the a-hole, at this point I would just let them all know you have provided everything for meals, everyone else is to bring their own snacks and extras, or they only get the designated meals. I would go as far as keep the PB&J for only little ones. I don't play with grown adults who demand things but refuse to buy anything themselves. I would also be letting my sister know that since we now have an 18-year-old man, he can contribute and buy his own food and make sure he gets his share of chores and responsibilities. Update to the story, short recap, we are going to a cabin in the woods for vacation. It's a family trip with extended family. So several cousins, a couple of kids, an aunt and an SO. One cousin paid for the cabin and left the planning and buying meals to me and another cousin. The other cousin has not helped buy anything, literally nothing. We are talking probably close to $1,000 of food bought, and he has not paid 1 penny, won't Venmo me money, won't buy stuff on his own. There are constant excuses, and last night he messaged me and the cousin that paid for the cabin and said he wanted to invite more people. The cousin that paid for the cabin said no, was actually polite about it, I have seen the texts, and the one who hasn't contributed a dime is now flipping out because he was told no. I'm just dumbfounded at this point. I don't have a lot of family left, and that's why I was biting my tongue about the ones not paying towards this trip, but I'm just shocked that someone who has not contributed a dime to a trip thinks they can invite 4 other people and get upset when told no. Update number 2, I was asked to give an update and I've gotten a decent following, so here's your update. Our weekend is almost over and the last of the family leaves tomorrow, so I figured now would be a great time to give you guys an update. Quick recap for those that don't want to click on my post history. And yep, this recap will be skipped. And here OP says that one of the cousins actually bought groceries. So anyway, there was a group list going and he stopped before he got to the cabin and bought everything that was on the list that had not been bought yet. Then 2 days later we had to make a grocery run for more food, several people had the munchies, and that was a decent bill and he paid that. This cousin also helped with the cooking and cleaning, so in my eyes he pulled his own weight. The cousin that brought his brother and nephew, they spent the entire time high and drunk. However, they were not annoying, so while I personally don't see the point of what they did, I'm not gonna complain. Plus, we would wake up in the morning and he always made something like cookies or prepped food for the day, and he was great at emptying and refilling the dishwasher. Only one kid came and we had a blast with said kid. My SO had fun as well. For me, I was pleasantly surprised. I had a great time and it was really neat to see my daddy and my cousins. From mannerisms to facial features to the one cousin who is covered in fur from head to toe. It's been hard on me since my dad died, and for reasons that would fill a book, I didn't grow up with this side of the family. So all in all, I had a great time reconnecting with them, and we had a family meeting where we came up with a budget and how much each person needed to contribute to keep this thing going. The plan is to do the same next year. I'm supposed to call tomorrow to see about reserving the cabin for next year. And yeah guys, I gotta say, I'm happy that this story took a positive turn. Even though I gotta say, I expected something completely different. I got my degree and was not able to get a promotion at my current company. I let my boss know I was looking for a new job and handled the move professionally. I left on good terms. I started my new job at a significant bump in pay and quickly discovered it was nothing like the DBA job I had interviewed for. Instead of managing databases, I was expected to learn a proprietary coding language created by my new boss. There was no documentation and he treated everyone like an idiot if they asked questions while trying to learn. After 3 months I had a review, I was told I was doing great and given a raise. I continued learning and persevering through my boss's abuse. 3 months later I was pulled into another meeting with my boss and his boss. I was told I was not meeting expectations, although they wouldn't explain how, and told to sign a document putting me into a lesser position at a significant cut in pay. If I did not sign, I was told I would be fired. I signed and immediately started looking for another job. I called up my old boss and asked for a reference. She told me she would do so happily, but I should know she had just submitted a job requisition for a new position that I would be perfect for. We discussed it and I agreed it would be a fit. I went through the interview process and got the job at a higher salary than my company had started me at. The only problem was that they couldn't bring me on until January 1st, it was October. I said that was fine. For the next 3 months I made sure to use all my vacation and did next to nothing while at work. I scheduled vacation for the last week of the year. On the last business day of the year I came into the office, handed in my laptop and a letter of resignation that was effective immediately. They were actually surprised that I was quitting. And the next story, back when I was a wee kid, we lived across from a popular public pool in a tiny street, so parking was premium. We sometimes had issues with people parking across our driveway, but we were pretty chummy with the pool owner and would just get him to put the message out over the loudspeakers and the people would come over, apologize and move their car. However, one afternoon coming home from school, this person had the audacity to park in our driveway, in our garage. My dad was dumbfounded. We went over and put the message out as per usual, and this woman in her 30s came over in a huff and said she would fix it when she had finished her exercise routine. So my dad just parked behind her and we went out for dinner for 4 hours or so. She was super pissed, but the story doesn't end there. She kept doing it. Usually 2 to 4 times a month. Eventually my dad would not think twice about parking her in and letting her out at his own leisure. No problem by us, lots of problems by her. She once called the police on us, to which they just told her to not park on private property and wrote her a citation. But wait, there's more. One Saturday morning she had the gall to park us in our own driveway. Dad had had enough. He made sure she was doing her laps, grabbed a coat hanger, jimped the car open and dismantled the passenger's seat, taking it out and leaving it on the curb in front of the pool exit. He then sat on our front deck zipping his tea as she came out of the pool to get her car. She walked past the passenger seat without a second glance and scowled at him as she opened her car and got in. She then did a double take as she went to put her bag on the seat. She freaked out, realizing that my dad had had access to her car and belongings this entire time and done nothing about it until now. She ran over, grabbed her seat, put it in the boot and drove off. Never heard from her again. And guys, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support me. Thank you so much in advance. And by the way, it would be absolutely epic if we could maybe reach 1000 likes on the video once again. Thank you so much. The title story is titled, A Wild Karen Got Arrested with a Felony. Background: I'm a 35-year-old father of 2 boys. I have PTSD due to time overseas and have the physical scars to match the mental scars. I have an incredible wife that knows me and knows what situations I should avoid. My children are amazing, but this story revolves around my youngest son and my service dog. Jay, my youngest son, has autism and we share a special bond because some things that set him off also put my teeth on edge. Spike, my English bulldog, he's my service dog. He is well trained, lazy, judgmental and overall uninterested in anything he cannot eat. He is also very in tune to Jay and my emotions and will provide a distraction when we get overwhelmed. Basically, he's like, oh, you are stressed? Here, scratch my butt, you will feel better and I will get attention. It's a win-win. The story: my family recently moved to Texas because we now live very close to an amusement park we got memberships for. Shout out to the park for being amazing when it comes to special needs. This particular park in Arlington, Texas has a special program for autistic people. They have rooms set aside to chill at if you're overstimulated, so you can relax, go back out, get overstimulated again, and round you go. With Jay, we also don't have to wait in lines. This is a huge thing and the cause of this story. The park has a pass that lets you skip most of the lines and they charge an arm and a leg for this. However, with that pass you still end up in a line of the hundreds of people that also have that pass. Jay gets no lines at all, we get a special pass and we go in through the exit. The worker signs the pass and we go on the ride. Jay has a favorite ride, the log ride. There has been days that we would ride the log ride over and over, then eat. We also have the food pass which we pay for and then go back to the log ride. On this day T, my oldest, and Jay wanted to go on the log ride. So we made our way to the exit and left wife and Spike in the shade because someone has to stay with him and bulldogs and rides don't mix. As we were going in the exit, a woman started screaming at us. I have absolutely no hearing on my right side, thanks high pressure wave, so didn't consider it worth turning my head to listen. Now, because we ride this ride almost exclusively, the workers on this ride know us by name and sight. Jay even talks to them, which is rare. We go in, show the pass, sit and ride. This time though, Tabitha, or Tabitha, I'm not sure, I will call her Tabitha because Karen is overused, the woman that was screaming at us as we were walking in through the out, made her way to where the speedy pass ends at the right, where a red t-shirt guy will check her pass and let her go on her way. She didn't even want to ride, she just wanted to yell about us going in through the exit and how we are abusing the system. Now, anyone that looks at Jay can see he is in a world all of his own and wouldn't be surprised if he's literally reading the future or talking to aliens. He is awesome. The red shirt tries to calm her down. T is getting upset because he's a normal 9-year-old and adults yelling is uncool. Jay making his excited sounds and waiting for the lock to stop so he can get in. We get in and as we float away, we still hear Tabitha screaming. The ride ends and we exit. We figured we would never see Tabitha again, but obviously as I am pointing this out, it didn't go that way. Tabitha appeared like a dark brother after making the sacrifice, Elder Scrolls reference, hooting and screaming. She is screaming that just because Jay is in our world, that doesn't mean we get extra rights. The screaming causes Jay to let out his super screech. Now, anyone that knows autism knows that autistic kids have superpowers. In Jay's case, it is a supersonic, ear-shattering, high-pitched screech that makes your eyes swim and makes it feel like things in your head are moving that shouldn't. This whole time, Spike was laying on the ground in the froggy position as bulldogs do, just looking at Tabitha like she's a rabbit dog but not worth getting up for. As we are being screamed at, I see 2 officers approaching from behind Tabitha. I smile, and my smile must have broken Tabitha because she hauls off and kicks Spike, our dog. This flips my switch because now my family is literally under attack and I start to react. Before I could make contact, Tabitha is already in the air, being held, carried half, dragged away while being cuffed. Now in front of me is a well-dressed and pissed-looking officer. He tells us he heard the screech and started heading to it because they thought a ride broke or something bad happened. I take the time to unflip that switch and examine Spike. He is limping and crying. I feel his hips and feel that his hip is dislocated. I jokingly ask the officer to walk away and let me get some. He of course has no humor to this, but also can tell I had a career. He asks what happened and we all explain what happened from A to Z. He asks if Spike is a service dog. I say yes. He smiles. I'm not in a smile mood, but it catches me off guard. He explains that in Texas to intentionally injure a service dog is a felony. By this time, park security arrived and issued a trespass order to Tabitha. The officers ask if I want to press charges. I look at Spike and look back. Yes, I say. Tabitha and her tiny mouse-like husband start to freak out as Tabitha is loaded onto a golf cart. We hop on a car too and leave to go to the vet. The vet fixed Spike and all is well. We went back the next day with Spike in a stroller. No one better than I, and everyone loves the bulldog in a stroller. I let people pet him, he's a hoot, and the park is an amazing place. I have been contacted by the investigating officers and have given depositions. I may have to testify, but I look forward to sitting on the bench with Spike on my lap. And Ripe Stars, I am wondering, what is your favorite amusement park in the United States? Because, at least for me, without the shadow of a doubt, the United States has the best amusement parks in the entire world. And guys, with this we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, then please feel free to check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/ripeyoutube or join my YouTube membership program by clicking the join button to get access to even more exclusive videos. Thank you so much for your support and I will see you again tomorrow.